Join me as we talk all things true crime.
Made contact and shattered.
The missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and advised that the mother has went through a wall, came home, now they can't find her.
Chad, where are Lori's kids? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds.
Most of them had just like one that was the lethal stab wound.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Once I told a lie, and I told my family, I had to keep lying.
What's your, is it deemed?
We haven't cleared anybody.
Hello, everybody. Let me know if you can hear me. It's good to see everybody. It is Saturday night, February 7th, and we are on day 7 of Nancy Guthrie missing. And we just got, within the last few hours, a slight update, not in Nancy's status, but a message from the family. So I want to start off there. Is anyone else very pulled all over the place, every direction with this case? I've been trying all week long to get a decent grasp of what's going on and what are the updates, and everything was like changing by the minute. Statements from law enforcement were changing from day to day. Things that they stated the day prior, they were walking back on, and it's just been one whole confusing mess, and just really unsettling that we're this far into the case and we have no proof of life, and we've had a very strange message from the family that I'm going to pull up right now. And in the midst of all this chaos, as far as trying to gather facts just on this case, I noticed that there were Ashleigh Banfield, TMZ, Harvey Levin, I believe his name is, and Lauren Matthias at the center of every single new video, every little update, any presser, they were on it. And it's very interesting to see, Ashleigh Banfield come out with like, oh, the son-in-law is prime suspect, and then law enforcement come out saying that they don't have any suspects or person of interest. It's like, I don't know who's at fault. Like I went into this making this thumbnail thinking, well, which is true, Lauren, of course, is in competition with Ashleigh Banfield. We already know that she's talked so much crap about every single news reporter, tied to every single station except Vinnie Politan, which I don't know if you guys saw her interview with him today that came out about this case on her channel on Hidden True Crime. But yeah, I was like, okay, Vinny, all right, you're really standing by your girl. Like, you realize that she, like, take out everything that she said that was bad about the victim's family. She put a copyright strike on Crusha when Kay was speaking out about her experience with her. You know what I mean? Like, ignore what Colby and all them said, okay? But like, the copyright stuff and the plagiarism rumors with Annie Elise, like, I guess I'm not surprised that Vinny went over there, seeing as she has way more subs than he even has on his small channel. Small in comparison to her, I mean. I don't know. But yeah, he was over there, and I thought that conversation was like so cringe. I felt like her and Vinny weren't on the same page at all with things that they were talking about. Yes, Ashleigh Banfield is doubling down. And you know what, Ruth Ann? I'm at the point where I'm like, I hope, let me pull up that. I hope that what Ashleigh reported is the truth, because you know that it would bother Lauren so much if that actually turned out to be like factual, because she, which we'll get into like after we go through the updates, Lauren was like saying over and over after Ashleigh came out saying that the son-in-law was the prime suspect. She was like, And they've made it clear that there are no prime. Like, she was so bothered by Ashleigh Banfield getting 2 million views with that segment about the prime suspect being the son-in-law. And I'll get into that. I have like she went live after Ashleigh Banfield's video about the prime suspect, and she said it at least more than 5 times. She reiterated, and just so everyone knows, the law enforcement has clarified and stated there is no prime suspect, blah, blah, blah. Like, she said it over and over. We're going to pull that up. But yeah, this is the latest. I want to get into the latest on the case, and then we'll get into where the truth lies as far as Ashleigh Banfield's reporting, who's right, because it seems like Lauren is like, no way. And when Ashleigh got 2 million views, it killed Lauren. It absolutely killed Lauren. And I wonder if her and Vinny like bond over like maybe competition with Ashleigh Banfield. I don't know. Like, because Vinny, during the Idaho 4 case, both Vinny and Ashleigh Banfield were like, our sources tell us, blah, 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 blah. Come to find out, like, the stuff that they were reporting in the Kohberger case didn't turn out to be real. Like, Vinny specifically said, I'll give you one example before we carry on with this. Brian Kohberger was stalking one of the victims in the Idaho 4 case on Instagram, and sent them DMs that were not responded to over and over. And he stated that on court TV. And then come to find out, like, through everything that we found out in that case, there was no messages of Kohberger messaging the victims over and over, one of the victims over and over. So I don't know. And then Ashleigh was doing the same thing. My sources tell me the Kohberger, blah, 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 blah. Like, it was like relentless back and forth, the two of them with the Idaho 4 case. But this is the latest
We received
statement.
Your message, and we understand.
I'm going to play it a few times, but I'm not getting vibes that their mother is alive and well and everything's going in their favor. That's just the vibes I'm getting. You guys share your thoughts.
We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay. We received your message, and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
So what stands out to me, and hello, Purple One, Florida Bass Fishing, Amy Boston is here, Lindsay, everyone, good to see you guys. What's standing out to me is the fact that the one ransom, which TMZ puts out, that apparently another news station got the identical one as TMZ. Harvey Levin, the guy from TMZ, was interviewed on another news station, and I wrote this down as a note because I just thought it was like kind of odd. They asked Harvey, when you guys at TMZ got the ransom note, did you give it to, and have you spoken with Savannah or the Guthrie family? And he said no. Like, I just thought that was so weird. Like, I feel like a lot of things in this case have just been odd. Like, Brian Enton going up, and mind you, I love Brian Enton's reporting. He's not included in the whole question mark of like how they've handled this case. Like, I feel like I've always respected Brian Enton. So anyways, he goes up to the house and finds the blood, right? And he's the first to report on the blood. That was after the crime scene tape was taken down. It's just very odd to me that like after all that, they like went back in and did more investigating, and like the house was like off limits for press and all this stuff. And it's like, I don't know, just the process of this case. Okay, Amy's saying I'm getting hoax vibes. I've seen people talk about that. I've seen people talk about the connection with Savannah interviewing Epstein's victims. Like, I'm just telling you guys what's out there. I don't know what to think in this case. I'm telling you guys right now, like, I could barely grab a footing with the basics of the facts in this case because they've been walked back and like changed multiple times, even by law enforcement. So there's that. Other people are saying it's totally weird. Okay, I didn't know. It is really weird. No proof of life. This makes it seem like, so you know how they put the extension on the ransom note? Can't even talk. It's like the first request was a obscene amount of money that they were requesting and she was still alive. Now because there's an extension till Monday, it's making me feel, and this message is making me feel like, okay, I still want money for your mother's body because she's passed. Like, do you want it? And they're saying in this video, like, for us to have peace, we'll pay. That's the vibe I'm getting. Like, they're aware, I don't know if this is true. You guys let me know, but they feel that their mother is passed, but they're still willing to pay some ransom to get her back so that they can celebrate her life and find peace.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay. We received.
Yeah, there's just, I don't know. It's crazy to me also that TMZ guy had never even spoke to the family after getting the ransom note. Like, I was like, this, okay. Mind you, TMZ, Harvey Levin, and Ashleigh Banfield, both in the Epstein files. I just want to lay that out there. I'm not saying that it's related. I'm just saying what I know. And it's the facts. Take it for what you will. That, hi, Punksy. Yes, and apparently the mom's birthday. So they were saying it was February, but then we looked it up on J for Justice. She was doing it, and it's the end of January, but it's still recent. Yes, I'll show you Ashleigh Banfield's. Are you saying what about Ashleigh being in the Epstein files? Are you saying what about Harvey Levin from TMZ in the Epstein files? Mind you, Ashleigh hasn't done a single video about Epstein or any of the documents. Just laying that out there. So, overview of the case, because it's all over the place. It's literally all over the place. But this is what I have. Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old. She's the mother of NBC's Today Show co-host Savannah Guthrie. So, yes, Harvey called the police, and then he did his own segment on it, but never talked to the family. I don't know. I just think that's kind of weird. I was wondering if the connection to the files PR to get attention off of what's been released. You know, Brandy, a lot of people saying that too. I'm not taking anything off the table. I'm not saying that like she's not really missing or there wasn't really something that was done, but like it's very, I've already seen people leaving comments saying like, okay, this news coverage is getting a little much. I'm not trying to downplay the crime. I'm just telling you guys what I see. So this took place in Catalina Foothills, Tuscan area in Arizona. Other people have also been speculating that the cartel is involved. Those are just the things that I've seen out there. In addition to Ashleigh Banfield saying her source told her the brother-in-law is maybe the prime suspect. And I'm going to walk you through, hi, Roxanne, how Ashleigh didn't really, whatchamacallit, make it clear in her video at first that it was maybe a prime suspect. Like she very much sold it as like prime suspect for over 20 minutes in her video. And then Lauren had a conniption and went live and said like over 5 times that like there is no prime suspect. Like she was so irked by Ashleigh reporting that. It was actually kind of funny. Like now it's to the point it's like, am I in agreement with Lauren about something that I want Ashleigh to be wrong and to have put out something that her source was wrong about, like, or what? Or do I want Ashleigh to be right and Lauren to be super annoyed with that? I don't know. I just obviously want the truth and things to come to a conclusion soon, which apparently Trump is saying that that's going to happen. I don't know. She was last seen the 31st at her Arizona home, reported missing on the 1st after she failed to show up for church. So apparently she does Zoom and like hasn't gone to church in person, but there was still like an absence of her. She was believed to have been taken overnight between the 31st and early February 1st. Evidence and crime scene findings include blood at the scene. Blood was found on her front porch. Forensic testing confirmed it belonged to Nancy Guthrie. Suspicious camera disconnects. Hold on, guys. I got like a tickle in my throat. I try my best to mute. Some people don't. Yes, Ashleigh shouldn't have done it, but Lauren would have and has done the same shit. Exactly. Exactly. And you know what? Like with FBI's involvement and knowing full well, and I think a lot of people forget this, but like I know they don't, but at the same time, like I haven't really heard anybody touch on this. Like law enforcement uses media to kind of put out messages during an investigation, like on purpose or whatever, you know, like a suspect's vehicle color or whatever, like ways to maybe let the suspect know that like we're on to you, and like maybe in hopes the suspect gets nervous or slips up or someone sees them, or you know what I mean. A lot of people left comments saying things like, why did Ashleigh Banfield put that out there? What if the son-in-law is the person who did this, and now the whole world knows that everyone's on to him and he gets desperate and like kills her, or like basically people were questioning why she would put that out there when they hadn't even had a proof of life. And then I started thinking about it and I was like, well, I wonder if Ashleigh was kind of coached. Like, is it possible that she was coached by FBI to put that out there as like, maybe it is true and it's some strategy, or maybe it's not true and they want those suspects to think that like they're worried about somebody who's not the suspect. I don't know. I think it is somebody that had to have known her for them to have known like where the cameras were, and to be comfortable to be in that house when they took Nancy for 40 minutes. So it's active criminal investigation. As you guys know, the Pima County Sheriff's Department and FBI are jointly investigating. Authorities believe she could still be alive, though there's no proof of yet of her condition or location. No confirmed suspect publicly identified. So this is what the rundown of this case is saying. So this is after Ashleigh came out days ago saying the prime suspect may be the son-in-law. So this is reiterating what the press conference said, and they said that there was no suspect or person of interest. Investigators haven't announced any arrests in her disappearance yet, obviously. The FBI has offered a $50,000 reward for information. So then the other thing that happened was there was like a new ransom message. So people were like, oh, it's not a ransom note, it's a new ransom message. And then there's already been people who have been arrested for fake ransom notes tied to this case too. So there's a lot of things that's like, wait, what? A ransom letter demanding payment in Bitcoin has circulated in media outlets. So this is the one that TMZ reported on. Authorities are treating the messages seriously while verifying their authenticity. Deadline has passed. A purported ransom deadline of 5 p.m. Thursday passed without new confirmed contact. So when the family came out just now, a couple hours ago, that, you know, we received your message, that must have been after Thursday, because this is saying that on Thursday, after the deadline passed, they hadn't confirmed contact. So there was a hoax incident. So this is the other thing that's just been, it's like the hoax coming out with fake ransom letters has been another kind of twist and turn in this case. A California man, Derek Kalea, was arrested for sending fake ransom texts unaffiliated with the actual investigation, suggesting opportunistic hoaxes are complicating the case. New message and family response. Law enforcement received another message related to the case. The FBI is investigating its authenticity. The Guthrie family acknowledged receiving a message and issued a plea in response. So that was the one that we've already gone through. That basically said, we received your message and we understand. We beg you to return our mother. We will pay that amount. So law enforcement have collected a blue SUV that was towed from Nancy's neighborhood as part of the investigation. Agents also removed a wired device, possibly a camera, from the roof of her home after a neighbor's tip. Authorities, and that was days and days later that they got that off the roof. Authorities have been reviewing surveillance footage and other digital evidence, including neighborhood cameras and phone data. Now, we've also heard that they've collected the CCTV footage from a Chevron gas station nearby and hopefully other businesses and stoplight cameras nearby as well. Some former law enforcement analysts have suggested this case is not a typical kidnapping, largely because of how ransom demands were handled, sent to the media rather than directly to the family, and the intense public attention complicates profiling. So that's interesting too, that expert commentary are saying that the intense public attention complicates profiling. So maybe it wasn't a good idea for Ashleigh Banfield to put out a clickbait thumbnail. Like, I'm sorry, I know a lot of people love her. But if this turns out to be something else, it's kind of, I don't know, like, was that helpful? She went on Megyn Kelly's show and they went on for almost 10 minutes about how they used to work with Savannah and they've known them for so long, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, just get to what your source said. This case has captured national attention, and I've seen it worldwide. People are following this. Nancy Guthrie is still missing. Cases actively being investigated as suspected abduction, kidnapping, no confirmed location or proof of life, no suspect publicly identified for the core crime. Reward is in place, and investigators continue to follow leads. So that's the updates. That's everything, and not much has changed since this case broke on Monday. So why is it that Lauren and Ashleigh Banfield are able to put out all these videos like with the same information? Like, not much has been progressed in this. First off, this has been deleted by Jumpsuit Pablo, but I haven't refreshed my screen, so I still have it because I pulled up the tab like days ago when he posted it. I don't know why he deleted it, but he says famous News Nation news anchor Ashleigh Banfield in the Epstein files, seemingly asking Epstein's publicists if Jeff is single and ready to mingle. The publicist tells Epstein that Banfield is desperate after recently being dumped by husband. This happened years after Epstein was convicted of his crimes in 2008. So I don't know if maybe that info was not accurate and that's why he deleted it, but I don't know. Have you guys seen these? So it says stuck at the office. I don't think it was for her. I'll be back Saturday in New York, 8th through the 12th. And he says, why does she ask about me being single? And the publicist says, because she is desperate, single, sexy, smart, newly dumped single mom looking for love in all the wrong places. She was married to Stanley Schuman's wife, Sydney's cheating son, and you are totally handsome and smart and have a few bucks. Not a tough call. Still at JFK. And that was from Peggy. the publicist, to Jeffrey. And Ashleigh had sent Peggy a message and said, like prior to her sending that to Epstein, and said, to Peggy, stuck at the office and late for Matt Damon premiere tonight, won't make the movie, but may try for party. Is that still okay? And is your friend Jeffrey still single? XO Ash. Like, desperate much? And here's the thing. She hasn't reported one thing on her channel about Epstein. Like, don't you think, I don't know. I don't know. I know some people don't want to touch on it. I don't know if it's because she's in the files, but it would be interesting if, since she knows or knew somebody who was a publicist that knew Jeffrey, like, how about you get in contact with your source, Peggy, there, and talk about your connection or their connection to Epstein. You know what I mean? I don't like Ashleigh or Megan. I have, really changed my mind about Ashleigh a long time ago when she covered the Watts case in 2018. She initially, when she was working on HLN, she was kind of had the mistress, Nicole Kessinger, under a microscope and was asking all the right questions. But as soon as the mainstream media backed Nicole Kessinger, Chris Watts' mistress, as a victim, then Ashleigh Banfield hopped on that bandwagon and never like questioned her again, like about her involvement in the case or anything. Are you talking about Nancy Grace, Paul T? Because I can't stand her either. So yeah, my opinion about Ashleigh really changed because I seen her opinion about a case. Like, she went from thinking one thing, and then when the whole mainstream media and everybody went a certain way in the case, she followed suit. So I don't know. To me, I feel like her and Lauren report on things that will get them further in their careers. Like, they're going to side with the prosecution, like, for example, the Delphi case and Lauren's coverage on that, because she wanted to get the interview with law enforcement and would get close with the prosecutor. Like, I think that they're like promised the scoop and inside information. We'll make sure you get a seat at trial if you go with our narrative, and this is our narrative. That's just my opinion, though. Like, so do you guys believe Ashleigh Banfield's source on this 2.1 million viewed video 3 days ago? Son-in-law, prime suspect. So when you guys see something that says prime suspect like this, like, you're thinking like, okay, this is legit, right? Like, you're literally thinking that that's what everyone's going to start reporting, except no one else reported this except Ashleigh. Megyn Kelly will at least say some things that goes against. Yes. She does, Purple One. I have noticed that. She does kind of push. I saw her do that with the Koberger case. Like, she was kind of more like questioning, like, how did the roommates not call 911 for so, like, kind of like, she definitely pushes back. Whereas like Vinnie Politan and other people will just like stick to the script, like, oh, those poor, this and that. I know exactly what you mean, Purple One. And I'm not saying that I don't think that like Dylan in the Idaho 4 case was under trauma. I'm just saying I've noticed that Megyn Kelly will ask questions that other people don't. And then we have Inner Visions, which your opinion is totally welcome as well. She says Megyn Kelly is pond scum. Megan says the F word a lot. Does she? You commented Epstein lover on her video on Ashleigh's? And that's the thing, is like, even in the 90s, I never thought Epstein was attractive. Like, why was Ashleigh Banfield asking if he was single? I'm so grossed out. Maybe it's because of the questions that they asked him during his deposition about the shape of his you-know-what. And they apparently it's deformed and in the shape of an egg. I don't know if you guys have seen that deposition with Epstein, but it's very, I figured somebody is overstating something. That's what you thought? Because at first I was like, oh, wow, this must be it. So let me just click on this video of Ashleigh's. I'm sorry, I'm a little congested. The kids were sick this week too, so now it's on mute. But what do I want to show? Okay. I have the minute marks when she kind of talks about suspects so that we don't have to watch the whole thing. Give me a second.
I have spoken with a impeccable law enforcement source who had
Impeccable law enforcement source. So do you guys believe Ashleigh Banfield that the son-in-law is prime suspect?
has informed me.
It's totally fine if you do. I'm curious where everyone's at because like we've stated, like she is doubling down on this being absolutely like accurate.
With his knowledge of the investigation, of some extraordinarily serious pieces of information about this crime scene. I can tell you that Mrs. Guthrie had cameras, plural, at this home.
I think
and that they
so,
were
Kimberly.
smashed. You may have heard Brian Enton from News Nation talking earlier and asking Sheriff Chris Nanos a question in the news conference. And again, today I'm recording on February the 3rd. It's a Tuesday. The press conference that was early in the day, Brian asked the sheriff,
okay,
the
hold on.
camera on the front of the house.
So she starts talking about stuff that like we've already like heard. Again, this is a couple days old, but she had already talked about stuff for a little bit that we had already known. Like I'm just trying to get to what your thumbnail says, and it's quoted prime suspect. So I'm just trying to figure out like what the update is, right? So I believe I have to skip to a minute in
being heavily looked at right now as a potential suspect.
So she said a family member, and this is 1 minute, 56 seconds in, a family member is being heavily looked at as a potential suspect. So it took 2 minutes to say that. So when you hear somebody say potential suspect, like you're thinking like, okay, wow. So that's who they're like looking at. This is it. Like, you know? And then she goes on talking about stuff that like has been reported already. And then they talk about like Nancy and Savannah's relationship and how close they are and how she raised her as like a single mother when her father died, blah, blah, blah. And I'm still sticking around 7 minutes in trying to, we see Brian Enton's blood that he's showed everybody. Like this is all stuff that like we've already seen. I'm like, okay, when are we going to get to the suspect conversation? Oh, no. We can't get to the suspect conversation yet. We got to go through an ad first. So she's got to squeeze in her ad. I'm still looking for, what your source has to say. So we get to 12 minutes.
There's blood inside the home. There's blood outside the home. So let me get to some of Brian Enton's amazing reporting as well before I give you a little bit more of what my law enforcement source has told me, especially about the prime suspect. And
she said, so let me get into a little bit of stuff that Brian Enton's reporting before I get to what my source told me, especially about the prime suspect. Okay, so you just referred to him as a potential suspect. Now 12 minutes in, we're up to quote, the prime suspect, right? So you're thinking like, okay, then it's the brother-in-law. No.
The car that was towed. That's very, very distressing. Brian also learned about forced entry into the house, and he learned of the 2 alleged ransom notes.
And the thing is like, I watched Brian's reporting. It's been great. I don't need you to recap it. I want to know what your source told you. And apparently she had said something. Somebody said something in the comment section like, please just tell us what you know instead of saying like, okay, here it is. I'm not going to lie. You're going to have to stop bringing up stuff and then be like, oh, I'll tell you more about that later on. But first, like, no, stop bringing it up until you're ready to talk about it. So clearly other people are feeling a little baited with this whole segment. And 22 people liked that. And they're like, okay, like somebody wrote, I would be so upset about this source sharing all these details and then find family seeing it all over YouTube. 56 likes. Ashleigh considers Savannah Guthrie a dear friend, but she just can't resist reporting on all the ghoulish details. There's other people criticizing too. Couldn't you get in trouble for reporting information about the son-in-law's involvement when it's not confirmed and reported information yet? So trust me, guys, it's not just me that, oh crap, I clicked out of that thing that had the Epstein email because there was so many people on Jumpsuit Pablo's that were like criticizing her reporting in this case too. Yeah, so we haven't gotten, so we got to skip to 18 minutes and 52 seconds.
Maybe a prime up. Family member goes over, calls family member or members, goes to the house, calls 911, and the investigation begins. But they have towed Annie Guthrie's car. And there is some connection to Annie Guthrie's car and Nancy Guthrie's son-in-law.
Yeah, the connection is the son-in-law is married to Annie, and they had the mother in their car from what I'm understanding. So usually in an investigation, they start at the center of things and work their way out, like people closest to the victim, and then they work their way out. People who saw them last, and then they work their way out of the circle, right? So this is 3 days ago. So of course the family was being looked at. You know what I mean? Like, I just hope that this turns out to be like a legitimate source. Otherwise, it's like, Ashleigh, here you go again. Another case, your source this, your source that. And where is it going to lead us? To the truth? Because I don't know. After your reporting with Koberger, I don't know about your sources.
That would be Annie's husband, Tommaso Cioni, age 50. From Tucson, Arizona, married to Annie P. Guthrie, Savannah's sister. And my law enforcement source tells me that Tommaso Cioni is the prime suspect in this case.
She just said, my source told me. Tommaso, I don't want to butcher his last name, is the prime suspect. So she just confirmed that. She just said it again as a fact. And of course, it's like, well, yeah, that's what her source told her. Right. Except you missed the part at like 20 minutes in when she actually has to say, maybe a suspect. Why didn't we start with that like the first minute? You started with potential suspect. Then you said the prime suspect. Then you said the suspect. And now she's going to walk it back.
And my law enforcement source tells me that Tommaso Cioni is the prime suspect in this case. Again,
is the prime suspect. So to me, it's like suspect number one is this guy. It's unprofessional of her to report on this right now. It could really negatively affect the investigation in case it doesn't help in any way whatsoever for the public to be told this. She's trying to say that the source is truthful. She isn't trying to say that the source is truthful either, only quoting what they are saying and leaving it up for us to decide what to do with the info. And you know, people who aren't like us, where we kind of are like, wait a minute, what? Like, we overanalyze things because we're in true crime. That's what we do. But the masses, because we know that this video has 2.1 million views. So that means like, you know, a lot of people took this as like, he's the suspect. It's him. A lot of people have already put like guilty on this guy's forehead. And I just hope that this doesn't turn out to be like false information, because for one, this guy's like, really? Like, it wasn't me. I'm the son-in-law. For two, it would really annoy Lauren from Hidden True Crime if this turned out to be real. But yeah, no, listen to her walk back. So she just said the prime suspect, right?
And law enforcement source tells me that Nancy Guthrie's son-in-law, married to Annie Guthrie,
and in the first minute, she did say, I have an impeccable law enforcement source. FYI, Ashleigh Banfield is still under contract with News Nation as digital media person. She needs to get paid and at least keep that position. She is not a true crime creator. She is still legacy media. Interesting. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say is like she reported it as, and plus the thumbnails basically says prime suspect, son-in-law. And then she waits till we're like 20 minutes in. And the thing is, like, for those who don't have a YouTube or really kind of understand the logistics of it, we've already watched her go through an ad. So she's already tried to sell you something. You've probably had to watch ads. Like I have Amazon or YouTube Premium, so I don't have to watch ads, but it still pays the creator. Like the premium people, you still are paying the creator, like when you watch their videos, even if you don't watch ads. So people who have premium have paid her. People who don't, they've already watched some ads and paid her. And we're just trying to get to like, what's this information about the suspect, the prime suspect? So you're already paying Ashleigh, and she's just going to say like, oh, well, he may be. I want to reiterate, he may be the suspect. And it's like, why didn't you just say that 1 minute in?
and a sister is maybe
It's
maybe
clickbait.
a
It's
prime
clickbait.
suspect in this source tells me
It's clickbait.
that Thomas Ocioni is the prime suspect in this case. Again, law enforcement source tells me that Nancy Guthrie's son-in-law, married to Annie Guthrie, Savannah's sister, is maybe a prime suspect in this case. At the very least, let me tamp that down, because sometimes it's the first person you're looking at, not prime as in there's no one else. Okay.
You hear that? But like people aren't going to hear that like when they watch this. So she says, you know, usually it's the first person they look at. That it doesn't mean that there's nobody else. So why does your thumbnail say son-in-law prime suspect in quotes? Like, why did you start off with potential suspect and the prime suspect? And now you're saying 20 minutes in, well, you know, let's break that down. It doesn't mean that. And then she's going to go on about how they look at everybody who's in the family and close to them.
Okay, so let's be really mindful of that. Families are always looked at first as well. It doesn't mean right away. Listen, Ed Smart was targeted for weeks as, without question, somebody they needed to look at. Possible suspect, right? Heartbreaking for Ed and Lois Smart, because it wasn't them who took Elizabeth, right?
And isn't it funny how she kind of gives us an example of like, yeah, here's an example of when they focused on somebody and actually it turned out not to be them. So is that what you're doing? We're focusing on him, but it's going to turn out to not be him, and that they're only focusing on him because he was one of the last people to see her, which is basically common? Or is it you really were given this information and you leaked it for like clicks and views? Like, I don't know which is worse. You kind of running with something that's like an obvious thing that they're always going to look at the family as like maybe prime suspect, or you were told that like, yeah, it's looking like it's going to be him, and you like decided for clicks and views you're going to tell everybody. Yes, YouTube Premium is worth it. I agree. And how much for 2.1 million? Well, I got over 3 million views on like a 1 minute video for the Johnny Depp trial, and that generated me. The thing is, that was only a minute. It goes by like the length of the video. And I got, I think, $12,000. That was years ago, because obviously it was Johnny Depp coverage. It was like $12,000. Like it getting 1 million views, which is so it's so obvious that Lauren wants that so badly. Like she tries so hard to get like a viral video. She really does. That's why, like, when she went live after Ashleigh did this, you could just tell that she was like fuming mad. Like, really? And she got 2,000 or 2 million views. Like, cha-ching, cha-ching. Like, you know that's what Lauren was thinking. So yeah, that you don't think she's doing it for clicks and views? So you think that was it's gonna turn out to be legitimate information, and that the brother-in-law is gonna be the prime suspect? Her being, what does that have to do? But she was running her own YouTube though. Like, this podcast is her own. Like, this has nothing to do with, like, what she makes on her YouTube podcast doesn't go to News Nation. So I don't know, like, what her being connected to News Nation means as far as, like, her not wanting clicks and views. Like, everybody who's on YouTube wants 1 million or more views. Yeah, the guy could sue if he has nothing to do with it. Or that's the thing too. Could he sue, or was he being looked at because he was one of the last people to, at this time, 3 days ago when this was reported? You know what I mean? Like, was that actually accurate? She's not. As far as I know, she made a goodbye video and said that she's cutting ties with them. They're sponsoring her behind the scenes, but that doesn't mean that, like, what she puts out on her YouTube, that's her. Like, that has nothing. She's independent on her podcast. The Ashleigh Banfield podcast has no, like, I'm confused why, like, her being sponsored by News Nation would mean that she doesn't do things for clicks and views. I vote clicks and views motive. Not sure if it is a great tactic. She is crap shooting that her info turns out to be right and can milk it for attention and clout or status. Yeah. I don't know. I just am like, I'm just confused why she put out on the thumbnail prime suspect and then took 20 minutes to say they look at everybody. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I totally think she's doing it for views. It's a bad idea. And is it because she wants attention away from her asking if Epstein was still single? I mean, that is a legitimate email. Not a good look.
That's what happens. When anything happens like this, familial abductions, the family's looked at first. And Annie and or Thomas O'Cioni were the last people to see Nancy Guthrie at 9:45 at night, the night before she disappeared, abducted, kidnapped. Kidnapped was the word that the sheriff used with me. But it's very distressing to think that this law enforcement source is telling me that Thomas O'Cioni is maybe a prime suspect in this case at this point, and that the car belonging to Annie has been towed and impounded and is.
But Nancy was in the car, so because it was impounded and towed, like, to me isn't like a smoking gun. I don't know.
It's my opinion!
I don't know. I just know that as soon as Ashleigh Banfield came out with that report, somebody was not happy. Somebody was looking at the 2 million views and like, oh my gosh. Yes, that's the thing, is like, agreed clout and maybe diversion. Yes, like, let me come out with like this shocking thumbnail and just desperation to get, bad publicity is still publicity in Ashleigh's mind. So she knows, oh, they're going to see my emails asking if Epstein's still single. I don't know. All I know is after she came out with that video, Lauren went live, and Lauren was not happy with what was said. And she wants to clarify that there is no prime suspect. Oh, wait, hold on. Before we get there, Ashleigh did a little tour around with her new news, and one of the stops was Megyn Kelly. This video is 11 minutes long. I believe one of the minutes is ad, at the end, because Megyn Kelly at least knows to do her ad at the end rather than the beginning, like Ashleigh and Lauren. And 11-minute video, it took 8 minutes and 50-ish seconds for Ashleigh to like clarify what her source meant.
Yes, I mean, I think the rest of us had gleaned that, even though the sheriff wouldn't say it explicitly, but now your source is saying yes. And so can you just reiterate, was there any sort of caution given to you about saying Savannah's brother-in-law is or may be the prime suspect? Like, is that as good as saying, yeah, Savannah may be, I may be, you may be? I mean, what's the worth of it?
I want to tell you one other thing he told me, because there was some reports that were pulled back. Somebody reported, I think on Monday, that Mrs. Guthrie was dragged from her bed.
No, just answer Megan's question. She just literally said, like, does that mean like, like you maybe and I maybe? And she's like, yeah. Mean Girls both worked with Savannah. Megyn pretends like she doesn't know her. Ashleigh acts like her and Savannah are best friends. Both are envious Mean Girls. I noticed too, Tina, in this 11-minute video, there was a part where like they were all going down like a trip down memory lane, and Megyn was like, yeah, we used to work at Court TV, and then and Savannah, I knew that she was going to get that job and blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden, like, Megyn was like, yeah, and I just got done interviewing the vice president. And it was like they were all trying to one up each other in this 11-minute video. Like, Savannah's not even there. She's actually part of this whole tragedy. And you guys are like talking like, yeah, I knew she was going to get that job at Today. And here I am interviewing vice president. It was just so like, ew. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, why are we talking about all this? Just get to what your source told you, Ashleigh. So listen again, like at, Megyn Kelly, like trying to get clarification. And then Ashleigh's like, well, let me tell you some, and tries to like fact check something else that somebody else reported.
Any sort of caution given to you about saying Savannah's brother-in-law is or may be the prime suspect? Like, is that as good as saying, yeah, Savannah may be, I may be, you may be? I mean, what's the worth of it?
I want to tell you one other thing he told me, because there were some reports that were pulled back. Somebody reported.
Isn't that hilarious? Megan's like, what's the worth of it? And like Ashleigh doesn't want to like give that. She changes the subject. That's what I like about Megyn, is like, again, she's not my favorite. Honestly, I don't think I have a favorite news anchor. I think like they all rub me the wrong way sometimes. And then other times I'm like, oh, that was a good report. But yeah, she says like, what's the worth of it? And Ashleigh's just like looks away like,
saying Savannah's brother-in-law is or may be the prime suspect. Like, is that as good as saying, yeah, Savannah may be, I may be, you may be? I mean, what's the worth of it?
I want to tell you one other thing he told me, because there were some reports that were pulled back. Somebody reported, I think on Monday, that Mrs. Guthrie was dragged from her bed, and the sheriff came out.
The sheriff said that. The sheriff said that. I listened to an interview when she said it.
Yeah, and he said, I didn't mean to be literally. And then he walked back that, and I couldn't get him to pinpoint an epicenter of the crime scene. Is it in the bedroom? Is it in the living room? Is it in the kitchen? Is it the front door? I couldn't get him to pinpoint that. He also wouldn't. On Monday, when I did the interview, he would not confirm that there was blood inside the house.
And here's what they love to do too. Oh, well, she says, what's the worth of your source saying that the brother-in-law may be the prime suspect? And she's doing this whole dance around that question and is trying to like put the blame on law enforcement. Again, I get it, because law enforcement has said, I've been trying to get like a footing in this case all week long. And I'm like, wait, they said this in this presser, and then they changed it to this in this presser. So I totally get it. But like, that's not what you're being asked, Ashleigh. Like, you're not being asked, how do you feel law enforcement has handled the information to the public in this case? You're asked, is your source credible, basically? Like, how good is your information? And here you are like blaming the sheriff about things.
but my source has confirmed there was blood inside the house. Brian Enton has confirmed that there's outside. My source said outside as well, but we saw the pictures. So there's blood inside the house and there's blood outside the house. And I want to be so careful with this because on my podcast, I said it over and over. Watch yourself. This is the language that's used. Son-in-law may be prime suspect now.
International disputes, inflation.
So it just took like 9 minutes out of an 11-minute video for her to just say the same thing. My source told me son-in-law may be the prime suspect now. Okay. We'll see. Again, I really hope that we don't have to come back and say, like, really, Ashleigh? Because that wasn't the prime. That's not who did it. Yeah, what was the word? Impeccable source. So her whole thing started off with, I have an impeccable source. Hold on, I got the screenshot. Oh gosh. A family member is being heavily looked at as a potential suspect. This is Ashleigh Banfield's quotes. My source told me. We'll get to that, especially about the prime suspect. Then she carries on her video. Tommaso is maybe a prime suspect. Tommaso is a prime suspect. You know, so it's just like, what the heck's going on? Did I just enter the Mean Girls Club? Me or Ashleigh Banfield and Megan? All three, Megan, Ashleigh, and Savannah, have similar looks to me. Just interesting, maybe because they're all reporters, the same age, etc. Yeah, and like you guys said, I think I know Viv. She also said, I think, on another Megan Kelly, because of course they split that up into like different parts. There's like 15-minute segments, 10 minutes, and they're wearing the same outfit. So they just shot this whole thing and then said, we're going to put it out in different videos and really milk this. And Ashleigh said something in one of those Megan Kelly clips where she said, well, over the years being a reporter, I've collected a few sources. And it's like, okay, well, your sources in the Kober case were not impeccable. I can tell you right now, because you said some things throughout the years reporting on that with your sources. Remember, she claimed to have sources inside the jail he was in, the county jail. She had sources. I don't freaking know. It's just ridiculous. But like I was trying to get at earlier, there was somebody who was more annoyed. I'm sorry. I'm like so congested. I'm really having a hard time, guys. I'm sorry. There was somebody else who was a little more annoyed with Ashleigh's reporting than me. That's why I'm like, I don't know where to go with this. Like, do I want Ashleigh to be right and then Lauren will be so annoyed? Or do I want Ashleigh to be wrong and then me and Lauren are kind of like on the same page about something? Because she kept making comments throughout this stream about like, there is no suspect and law enforcement is like, it was obviously about Ashleigh's reporting. So let's skip ahead. Like, I've got the minute mark. So what I did is I went to her transcript of this live because I'm not going to sit here and watch it all. No. In fact,
As far as yes,
I saw Hella go through some of these and I'm like, oh, perfect. Now I don't have to. I'll just watch you guys. Other channels do coverage of it. So 4 minutes and 27 seconds.
Yesterday goes that there were no persons of interest or no suspect. Will that change at this press conference? We don't know.
So there's one where she wants to make it known after Ashleigh's video.
But again, I want to state, because the sheriff's office made this very clear yesterday, that there is no suspect and no person of interest. Could that change at the press conference today? Sure. In an investigation like this, things change minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day. But as of right now, they want us to say that there are no suspects and no persons of interest.
Hold on. She's not done making that point. Hold on. I'm trying to get some screens X'd out. Okay. So then we got another. So I put her transcript in and I said, give me all the minute points where Lauren makes it clear that there's no suspects. And it gave me like a handful of times in one live stream that she wants to reiterate no suspects. And it's a dig, obviously, at Ashleigh Banfield and her 2 million views on her video. Poor Lauren. What's this one at? I don't know. Not 2 million views, I'll tell you that. But yeah, that $2 million or 2 million viewed video for Ashleigh Banfield, you guys were asking how much. I mean, that's what any YouTuber strives for. I can tell you that. And it's like hitting the jackpot. And Lauren is trying so hard to get those views. She tries too hard. It's exhausting.
I actually am surprised they told us that much, especially specifically about the ransom note. $50,000 reward now. And we just learned that there is a 5 p.m. deadline tonight for the ransom note. They would not say what happens if their demands aren't met. There could likely be an additional deadline Monday. We also learned that the ransom note that 3 media outlets have claimed to receive, including TMZ and KOLD in Tucson, Brianna Whitney, who did an interview with us yesterday, was with KOLD, and she asked some questions there in that press conference there, that they received it before TMZ. They stated now details from that ransom note that they mentioned floodlights in the ransom note. And they mentioned a few other things in that ransom note. They reiterated that there is no suspect nor person of interest, let alone a prime suspect. Absolutely not at this time. And then
so that's 1, 2, 3. That's 4 times in this hour 42-minute video that she's already like made it clear, like, and you know, there is no suspect. Like, she's not happy about Ashleigh Banfield's video, let alone a prime suspect. And it's like, I get it, Lauren, I get it, because Ashleigh put that out. Law enforcement immediately came back out and said, we do not have a suspect. So it's like, what is going on? I get it, but I think you're annoyed that you didn't get 2 million views, where I'm just annoyed because I just want to get my footing in the case.
Podium with a lot of emotion. And they want to get this thing solved. It's large and complex. Then he said, again, I want to reiterate that he did confirm that the blood on the front porch is Nancy's. There are no suspects. There are no persons of interest. A person of interest comes before a suspect. So there's no person of interest, let alone a prime suspect. They are just not there. We are not there yet.
Okay, so that's 5 times she's reiterated no suspects. And hello, yeah, let's unpack that. Kristen, good to see you. Happy you're here.
And some note, Charles Labutier did another interview yesterday, and he actually said that they withheld a lot of details as well. But we do know from TMZ that they mentioned something Nancy may have been wearing and things from her house. Today, we learned that in the ransom note, something about an Apple Watch was mentioned and floodlights, but they will not say more. And again, timeline is 5 p.m. today that they want money. They are taking it seriously. They reiterate that they have not ruled out anyone, but they have no persons of interest. There is DNA continuing to be tested, and they have not located, again,
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. 8 times in this live stream after Ashleigh Banfield's $2 million, or I keep saying $2 million, 2 million viewed video claiming the son-in-law is the prime suspect. Lauren needed to go live and clarify 8 times that there are no prime suspects, no person of interest, no suspects, let alone prime suspect. It was just so funny to kind of watch. And I didn't watch it myself. I saw it on Hella's channel and I was like, I wonder how many times she like makes it clear. Sure enough, after running the transcript through AI and having them give me those minute marks 8 times. Lauren is salty. My voice gives you the ick, probably because I'm congested, but that's totally fine. I can deal with it, Queen of Queens 18, because you're just a keyboard warrior. So
shut up, bitch! Oh my
God! But anyways, moving on. Oh. Not you, Lauren. Somebody else. Oh, it was Hella. Well, my apologies, Queen of Queens. I just get excited to use the Rock shut up B word. Yeah, it is a great gift. I wait every single Saturday for trolls to come in when I'm bashing Lauren. So I don't know, Queen of Queens. I thought maybe you were a hidden gem, which is what she calls her followers. So apologies there. I get a little trigger happy with the Rock reel video there. So again, my apologies. Whoopsies. No, I cannot stand Lauren. Did you see Queen of Queens and everyone else her video on this case with Vinnie Politan? I mean, what the heck was that? That was the most awkward conversation. Was it me? Was it just me? Because, like, I really think that was super awkward. Hey, Karen. Well, that's kind of you, Paul. Damn it. No trolls tonight. I know. Darn it. That happened last week. I was like, is it because I'm on subscriber mode? Okay, guys. Did you watch her video with Vinny? Hold on. There has been something. There was something new I wanted to play. Back to the real situation at hand here. Let's watch an accurate news segment that is updated as far as within the last hour this has been put out.
And here now is Paul Moore, retired NYPD inspector, Fox News contributor. Paul, I want to play the video released by the Guthrie family again for those who may have missed it. Let's watch.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
What is your reaction to that latest video?
Yeah, look, I'm just seeing it like everybody else. I just read it. So let's look at it very closely, the way Ted Williams did. I think where it gets most troubling is when you go near the end. So let me just tease it out similar to the way Ted just did. We received your message and we understand. That feels to me like there's something new. And one of the things we've all been talking about is, have they established a protocol to speak to each other? This sounds like they got something that is different from the note, the second note, that none of us were really sure was the same people originating in the same place as the first note that the authorities were taking seriously. Now, one of the points I've been making is that if the second note were from the same people, I think they would have included, once again, the crypto wallet. It's not definite, but that would have very much been a proof that it was the same people, because that's a long, unguessable number. And first of all, it goes to the fact that they want to be paid. So I would think it would have been in the second note, not definitive, but perhaps. This feels to me like it's something new. And therefore, I have to think that they did establish some way to talk to each other, one way or the other. That could be good news for the investigation, because you have something else to work on. Let's go on real quick. We beg you to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. Celebrate what? That feels to me like a euphemism, right? Celebrate her life, something like that. Also, return our mother to us. Let's look at not so much what's being said as what's not being said. If this note had said something like, okay, we're glad we've had a meeting of the minds, let's set up the exchange. Would it not have very, very different verbiage? Would it not have said something like, thank you for getting in touch with us, we're ready to move forward, waiting further instructions, things like that. In fact, I would argue there would be nothing public, right? Further, if there were a good protocol to talk to each other, she wouldn't be making a video.
Yeah.
So she's sending this out for them to hear this, right? And let me just close the loop. This is the only way we can have peace. To me, that is the most troubling line. Peace, not we can't wait to see her, this is great kind of thing.
Yeah, it very much, which I know you guys agree, it sounds like they want to lay her to rest, and that will bring them closure. Somebody said they just want the return of her body to celebrate her life so tragic. What an utterly horrific nightmare. We received your message. We understand that our mom has passed on her own. This is very valuable to us. We will pay to get her body back. We need this so we can celebrate with her body for celebration of life. We will pay for the return of her body. That's my interpretation. And I think the majority agree. Sadly.
Peace. When do you talk about peace? You talk about peace when you're talking about closure, right? And then finally, this is very valuable to us. Well, of course, your mother is valuable to you if she's alive. That, by negative inference, to say she's valuable, to have to say something is valuable, that tells me that it's something you might not normally think has value. And that goes to the idea that we want her. I'm just going to be frank here, man.
Yeah.
You're asking me, I'm telling you, her body.
Yeah. No,
Right?
and I think a part of that was
so-
the next line. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I was going to say the fact that they're saying, and we'll pay.
Exactly.
Well, we'll pay has been there all along.
Exactly.
And the fact that they'll say, so what are you doing now? You're saying we're going to pay for something that maybe had less value than it had yesterday.
Yeah.
So just as an investigator, I'm telling you, piecing this thing apart, I hope I'm wrong. You know, I think that's clear, but I don't think it's a positive sign.
Paul, I just got one question for you. You alluded to this, that they're communicating back to whoever has her mother with an Instagram post as opposed to through some sort of channel that's established. I would imagine they're speaking with law enforcement and coordinating this with them. Would you say the same thing, basically, that law enforcement supports them putting this video out there this way?
100%. We all know that when they did the first initial response, that we saw law enforcement going in with a ring light. And in fact, you know, when I got that report, I was asked, what do you think? And my first blush was, okay, they're going in with a camera and lighting. Maybe they're going to film a search warrant here so that if they get some incriminating evidence or something, they can demonstrate how they got it. You do things like that. You film locations. But when I heard a ring light, well, we all know what a ring light is, right? That's what people use to make selfies, and, you know, they put the videos on TikTok and all of that. So when I heard that, I began to think, all right, social media. And that was, in fact, the FBI going there, and they did confirm that they were there when that first video was made. I don't know about the second one that Cameron made after the first deadline passed, but certainly the first one, they were there. And at the press conference, they pretty much confirmed that. So let me go yes on that, Joey.
And Paul, I guess we'll also remember here that the next deadline that was previously established was to come on Monday at some point. I don't believe that there was a time period. But of course, today is Saturday, 1 week set that Nancy Guthrie has been missing. You know, so 2 days out from that next deadline, does that help you understand? You know, you walked through the possible interpretations of this last message. Does that add, you know, any, to me, I feel like maybe that's some more optimism. It's before the last deadline that they're still communicating and offering, you know, trying to set up some type of indication that they are willing to pay.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope so, certainly. And I could be wrong. It's just so cryptically worded. And you're not going to, if it looked like, okay, we got a message, we've had a proof of life, you're not going to be cryptic. You know, it's going to be real direct. You know, the only thing that she really says is really sort of straightforward is we will pay. But that's been there all along, I would argue. So, you know, I hope I'm not taking the wrong messages away from that because we all hope that she's alive. But this feels to me like they got some new piece of information where almost as if they said something like this, an accident occurred. This didn't go the way we expected.
Yeah.
You know, we know she had a heart condition, right? Something like that. And like you say, we're before the deadline. So would they not be saying things like, you know, before the deadline occurs? And I've heard disparate reporting on the deadline. My understanding is that the best sourcing from the authorities was that it was going to be 5 o'clock again on Monday, Arizona time. And that might be an inference in the Arizona time piece. But yeah, because we're before the deadline, it would have felt to me more like a negotiation than it does.
Wow. All right, Paul, thank you so much.
And since we've been live, this was 43 minutes ago. This is on X. Boots on the ground, happening now, 43 minutes ago since I started the stream. 2 marked Pima County Sheriff's trucks just returned to Nancy Guthrie's home. Unclear why. There's really no other updates. We'll keep an eye on it. Hello, Googie. Thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate that. And hi, Abulita's Journey. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Yeah, someone close enough to her who knew her routine, family, the layout of the house. Yeah, where the cameras were to break them, etc. And it's just not your typical like kidnap situation. So then will Ashleigh Banfield's source come out and it is going to be the son-in-law as the prime suspect and the guy, or what? Or is that literally just, she's like, well, I mean, I made it clear in my video that they always start in the small circle and work their way out. Who knows? But Lauren's video here earlier today with Vinny, it was so weird. I'm sorry. It was just kind of like they were talking about nothing, all while talking for 25 minutes. What's with the thumbnail? Not only is it heavily AI, but like, I don't know. You couldn't put Nancy's face on it at all. Like you had to put like Savannah's very like upset face as like your thumbnail. I don't know. And Vinny looks like he's like holding in a fart. I don't know. Oh, there was something else I wanted to show you guys too. Not only in her first video, this is her first video on the case, and it has on the thumbnail, it gets worse. The case just started. What are you talking about? It gets
and
worse.
where she made.
Here's my criticism, Grayson, if you're listening. Grayson is her producer and her editor. Must be nice. I do all my editing and everything myself. It's a lot of work, but here's my criticism for Grayson. Here comes Nancy. This is the first video that she's reported on this case. This came out right when, the case kind of was breaking. This is going to be the first time we're seeing who Nancy is in the video. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. She does show her a little bit. Okay, my bad. But here, look how long she keeps the flyer up on the screen for.
Sunday, police were called and Nancy was quickly reported missing.
4.
So here's the time.
4 seconds. 4 seconds on the screen for poor Nancy's flyer to get out there on this huge platform. This is my criticism, Grayson, if you're listening. If there's a missing person,
by 12 p.m.,
keep the flyer on the screen for longer than 4 seconds. I couldn't even like figure how old is she? What's her height? What is she? This is a missing person, Grayson. You need to have the flyer up on the screen for more than 4 seconds. Here's my other criticism. 4 seconds for the flyer. But
work on this case and encourage anyone with information to contact the Pima County Sheriff's Department at 520-351 sheets.
Okay. 4 seconds for the flyer, but let's squeeze in an ad break.
Wake up in the middle of the night, too hot, too cold, or just uncomfortable, your sheets actually play a much bigger role in your sleep than you might think, which is.
And wasn't Lauren wiping her snot on sheets at the hotel that she was at? And here she is, like, selling sheets. It's just so funny. And these sheets are snot proof, so you can wipe all your boogers on them and it won't stain the sheets.
Is why I want to tell you about Miracle Made. Miracle Made sheets are made with NASA-inspired silver-infused fabric designed to help regulate your body temperature so you stay comfortable all night long. Whether you sleep hot or cold, these sheets help keep you in that sweet spot. They also stay cleaner and fresher longer. Thanks to their antibacterial silver technology, Miracle Made sheets prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, which means fewer odors,
fewer odors from John farting next to me all night long. I recommend these sheets. If you're worried about odors in your sheets and like things being antibacterial, like with your sheets, just wash them. Like, I don't understand the appeal of like, oh, wow, odorless sheets? Perfect. Like, why don't you just wash the sheets? That way you don't have to worry about like an odor arising. I don't know. I've never had sheets where I've been like, I really wish these were odor proof. I don't know. All I know is I think that a missing person's flyer should be on the screen longer than 4 seconds, and for your ad to run longer than the flyer being on the screen, like it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I'll leave it at that. So let's get back to her video with Vinny. So that's my criticism for you, Grayson. You know, because maybe I'm just too critical, but
It's my opinion!
it shows the true character of the channel. I agree. Never had stinky sheets. Right. Yeah, just shower. Yeah. Your snot won't even soak in the sheets. Just buy odorless sheets and never wash them. Right. NASA inspired is one of the wildest statements I've ever heard. No. NASA inspired sheets. Yeah, just wash that. Like the antibacterial sheets, like you're just trying too hard. If you're sleeping with John, you need all the help you can get. Oh my gosh. Oh. I don't even know if I can get through this whole video with Vinny. It was so cringe.
Is this the only hope, only chance we have? It's as slim as it may be.
Hello, Hidden Gems. I am with Vinny Politan today, lead anchor with Court TV, host of the Vinny Politan YouTube channel and the Tangent True Crime podcast host. Someone that I actually want to say right off the bat, you know Savannah Guthrie. We are going to talk today about the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. This is a
And I really hate how like all of them are like, I know Savannah. Like her, Kelly, Megan Kelly, what's her name? Ashleigh Banfield. It's like, okay.
Heartbreaking case. It's heartbreaking for everyone following this, but not only that, you know Savannah personally, even you've worked with her.
Yeah. When she made her entrance into the national media world that she dominates now, right, as the host of the Today Show, she started at Court TV. She was a correspondent, and
we don't care. We don't
from
care.
the minute
Like,
she
we do, but
entered the
we care, but we've heard it all before.
Graduating high school.
Yeah.
So, we don't really know, all right, are they putting on a show? Are they? No, this is like real. And it's made it a much different experience for me. And I think because so many people have that relationship with her in the morning, right, as the host of the Today Show, that they're feeling this one a little differently as well.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, you had Glenn Jones on your podcast, Jonesy, and he said similarly. He said that she is so kind, that she worked at Court TV and she made everyone feel welcome, and she was one of the kindest, most sincere, genuine person. And the love of her mother has been on display for the entire nation on the Today Show, where she brings her on. It is an absolutely heartbreaking. It's just,
that's her favorite go-to. Lauren loves heartbreaking. She says it in every video. Every single video, she says heartbreaking.
It's to watch it, to see an anger that we all know in a video begging for her mother or mommy to come home, and to be so concerned. It's psychological warfare out there as well. I really feel.
No, it is. Think about the position she's been put in. And, once we get into some of the evidence in this case, but like, is someone holding her for money? And
Vinny says, once we get to the evidence of this, what evidence? There's barely been anything that's been confirmed, and yet we're going to still talk for 25 minutes. Here we go.
And will they release her? Is she alive? Like,
is she alive?
There are no answers to any of those questions, right? Nothing that like is seemingly rock solid from what we know. But the position that you're in, right? Give us the money. There's a deadline. And then from a human perspective, I'm thinking about how could you put someone in that position, but then you don't provide them the information that says, okay, yeah, I am the one that has your mom and your mom's okay. Like, you're not providing that information, but you're demanding the money. So now she's put in a position with her brother and sister. Like, is this the only hope, only chance we have? As slim as it may be. So how do you handle that deadline? How do you decide whether or not to pay the money or not?
Absolutely. And let me be clear, as far as we know, still no proof of life. Your company, Court TV, has received at least one ransom note. It's K-Gun in Tucson Scripps Station. Is that right? I don't know if they've received two or not. I know KOLD in Tucson, they've received one. KOLD in Tucson has received two. And the news director has stated, while they're keeping it very close to their chest, all the information in that, they have stated still no proof of life, right? So how do they even know whether or not, there's even speculation still about whether the ransom note is even real. I want your perspective on that. But if it is real, how do they know that she's even alive? Still no proof of life. How easy would it be to be able to share proof of life?
How many times is Lauren going to say, which by the way, it's on the thumbnail, proof of life?
In a second communication that they send a local affiliate down there in Tucson. So I guess I just threw out multiple questions there. Let's start with this. First off, I do want your perspective. Do you think these ransom notes are real, Vinny?
I'm leaning towards real. And the reason is, number one, the way law enforcement.
And in this case, that's sort of a loaded question. Do you think the ransom note is real? There's been more than one. There's been ransom notes. There's been ransom messages. Like, there's been ones that people have been arrested for faking. Like, which one are you referring to?
Particularly the FBI has reacted to it. And because there have been three notes, right? Like, there was one note, 3 copies of it sent to 3 media organizations. That's the first one. That's the most important one. There's a second one that's sent that is quickly investigated and dismissed, and an arrest is made. So that one was not treated as real. Now, this third one, likewise, they get the note, and then there seems to be some sort of reaction to it. And then you look at Savannah and her brother Cameron with the messages that they put out there. You're not gonna put that message out if it's like, no, there's no chance this is real. Like there is a chance, and I think a real chance, that is a legitimate note. If in fact, the way Harvey Levin is describing some of it, if they're matching things in the note to the house that no one else would necessarily know. And everyone talks about proof of life, but I think in that analysis, there's another chance of life, right? It's if it's your child,
Sometimes I get the feeling in this interview that Vinny's saying things and Lauren is agreeing, like, but I feel like she doesn't know what he's like. She's confused.
sibling, your mother, your grandmother, whoever it is. All right, you didn't give me proof of life, but is there a chance of life? So if there's chance of life, how does that work into my equation? Because at the end of the day, money's just money. Right. Money's just money. It's not like we're exchanging. And I know the way law enforcement is looking at this, and the guests I've had on have looked at it, and they analyze, well, there's no proof of life, but is there a chance of life? And is it the only chance of life?
Isn't proof, like, what is the difference in proof of life and chance of life? Like, we already were told that she needed medication to survive and that they didn't believe that her medication was with them. So the clock was always ticking on the chance of life. The proof of life is just the person who has her, like, showing us that, like, she's still alive. Like, this is what I mean by this was like 25 minutes of them talking about nothing.
Right now. And so what's the downside if you pay the ransom and you don't get it? You lost some money.
Well,
look at the opposite. Look at the opposite, though. Look at the opposite. You don't pay, the deadline passes, you never see your mother. What's the
I have a question for you. Then I have a question for you. As an attorney, you guys always talk about precedents. I mean, a lot of people saying they've never seen a case like this, right? Never seen a case. Well, it's 2026. We've never seen a lot of things like this before. We're in a world of AI, as Savannah Guthrie says herself. If they pay this ransom, does this set a precedent for a whole new world?
What does AI have to do with this? Like, is she trying to say, like, oh, AI could fake a proof of life? Like, what is she getting at?
World of possible danger out there? Does this set some...
Does this case set a precedent for a whole world of possible danger out there? What? Doesn't every kidnapping case kind of remind you that there's possible dangers out there? Like, what is this precedent of possible danger? What are you talking about? Exactly, Ruth. And neither of these idiots know what they're talking about. I know. It's like they sat down and they're like, so law enforcement hasn't given us any updates, but do you want to make a video about it? I really need clicks and views. And Ashleigh Banfield got 2 million views. So let's make one, Vinny.
Sort of wild precedent of these new age of kidnappings where you can kidnap someone's mother and they can send some Bitcoin or crypto or whatever this is, and you never have to even show proof of life.
She says, is this a new age where, you know, you can get your mother kidnapped and, you know, crypto, but new age crypto has been around for like a while now, Lauren. Crypto and Bitcoin, like, this isn't anything that's like 2026, like this is the new precedent. In fact, according to Google, cryptocurrency has been around since, it says cryptocurrency began with the launch of Bitcoin on January 3rd, 2009. Let me ask ChatGPT.
And you know, maybe she's alive, maybe she's not. Take your chances here. I mean, it's kind of a frightening perspective for me watching this go down too.
But you're saying precedent, which is policy, which is like when our government doesn't negotiate with people, right? We don't.
What? You're saying precedent, which is policy, which is our government. What? Yeah, no. Okay. Just to clarify, Bitcoin and crypto have existed since 2009. It's 17 years old. So I'm confused what you're talking about. That this case Nancy Guthrie's case has set a precedent for new way of like kidnapping. And she's like, and I, for one, am scared. What did she say?
Perspective for me watching this go down too.
Perspective.
But you're saying precedent,
What?
which is policy, which is like when
You're saying precedent, which is policy, which is when our government, what?
our government doesn't negotiate with people, right? We don't negotiate with terrorists. However they say that, because then it's going to happen again and again. But you only have one mother. You may only have one child. I'm looking at this from a personal perspective. Like how do you make that choice? How difficult is that choice? And is it, which weighs more heavily? Proof of life or
Queen of Queens? The more I've seen, like, it's like a monkey could do the things that she does.
a chance of life? And I don't know what the demand is. It's been said it's in the millions. The one thing about all of this, though, that does give me a little.
She is constantly crossing her arms when she's next to John and during this interview. Like, I think she's like, she thinks like, oh, I'll look pensive, but it's like it's awkward. Yeah, Lauren would love to set a precedent.
Little bit of pause is the payment in Bitcoin, right? To this address, this Bitcoin address. How is the person ever gonna get the money? It's gonna be impossible. Like, I had an expert on, like, this is all he does. He says, unless he goes to like a nation state like North Korea or China, there's no way to get your hands on the money without people being able to track you down. He said, this isn't under the radar. This is as on, in the spotlight as possible. So there are literally thousands and thousands of people in the blockchain who are going to track it down to be the hero. So I don't know if it's not well thought out, if they have some plan, or if that's the tell that this isn't real. Why would you demand Bitcoin? Of all the cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin is the one that is the most secure and easiest to trace.
Yeah.
Like, so some of those things don't make sense, but it comes back to this, like, what's the percent of chance of life that would make you pay as the deadline's approaching? If you get nothing else from law enforcement, no leads.
It's always too much with her, Purple One. She always is trying too hard.
And things in those letters have matched things that were not made public.
Oh, ad break.
When I'm moving fast, especially with breaking news or early trial.
No, I would not buy anything from anybody wearing that sweater. So I'm just going to skip over it. I won't even make fun of the product. I just can't.
Better to hear is, your mother is aware and she is scared, but she knows what we're doing.
What is so funny, Lauren?
The thing for me in that letter to hear is, your mother is aware and she is scared, but she knows what we're doing. And so you have these children knowing that their mother, I mean, this is horrendous. This is horrific. You know, if the ransom note is real, and thus I would say that equates to this being targeted, the sheriff wouldn't say yes or no. Somebody asked in the press conference.
Oh my gosh. This would point towards it being targeted. Of course it's targeted.
Is there any indication that she was targeted because of Savannah Guthrie? And the sheriff would not answer that. Do you think that she would be targeted because of Savannah Guthrie? And I mean, she clearly is probably better off than both of her siblings. Do you think there's any way she wasn't targeted because of Savannah Guthrie?
No, I think it's Savannah. It has to be. I mean, what is she doing? She's 84 years old. Like, who's going after her? Like, and you could presume that, people in that neighborhood have money. So maybe, okay, we, happen chance we found this woman who lives by herself, so she would be a great target. But like, if it's a ransom and a kidnapping, then you've got to know there's a connection to like much more money, which obviously Savannah has access to, and her family has access to. So I think it's absolutely targeted. You go in the neighborhood, like, how do you know that house? How do you pick that house? And it could be something as easy as, someone, either a vendor or an aide or somebody's at the house and then comes back and says, you won't believe whose house I was at today. Who? Oh, this woman. She's the mother of that lady on the Today Show. Who? Oh. And then that person just happens to be like a really bad person. It could be as simple as that. So I think it is targeted. I think Savannah and her family have been put in a terrible spot. That whole thing about your mother knows, that's more of the psychological warfare in all of this. The blood is The other thing is the 41 minutes. I don't understand the 41 minutes in the house. What is happening there?
Right.
What is happening in those 41 minutes? It's very unusual. It tells me that things didn't go as planned, or the plan changed.
How does 41 minutes in the house indicate to you things didn't go as planned or the plan changed? Like, where is that coming from?
Because she's a sharp lady and she's a tough lady. So if there's someone in her house, she's not going to like whimper in the corner despite her physical limitations. And I think that has something to do with what happened here. But 41 minutes, that's not a plan. That's things gone awry. Like, you don't want to be hanging out in this house for 41 minutes doing what, if it's a kidnap, you want to get in, you want to get out.
That means the plan's gone awry. I mean, very well could. I'm confused where that is coming from. That he has a point here. What? So you think that 40 minutes? I don't know. I want to know like why that means that the plan didn't go awry, because it wasn't an in and out thing.
In, out. Like, and to me, that's another part of the mystery and the things that aren't fitting perfectly, which is why I don't think any of us are convinced 100% that this ransom letter is real, because not everything is necessarily fitting. But
so now we're not convinced that it's real. I thought you said in the beginning that you thought it was real. I'm confused now.
I look at it like, well, I'm looking at it more likely than not. You know, like 50.0001% is where I am on this ransom letter being legit.
Yeah, I mean, the 41 minutes confuses me as well. And I've also wondered, you know, we've seen the blood spatter outside. You know, they've discussed DNA inside. It makes me wonder what they found inside. I agree with you with Nancy Guthrie. The one way Savannah always explains her mother is strong. In her book, on the Today Show, in Speaking Out, her mother is a strong woman. I'm sure that she did not go.
Well, yeah, but she can't even walk 50 yards.
I also suspect that too is there has been someone that sent a fake ransom that's been arrested. And by the way, the new, Derek fake ransom dude is now out on bail. But he was arrested, and law enforcement is searching now for a vehicle that may be connected to the investigation, right? A Circle K gas station spokesperson told NBC that they were contacted because of a vehicle of interest. They handed over their surveillance video. There's a lot happening behind the scenes. Clearly, we don't know about. But do you think there's been so little information, understandably?
There's so many things happening behind the scenes that we don't know about, but you're still able to come out with like multiple videos on this a day. And,
police have to keep this close to their chest, but they're repeatedly saying no person of interest, no suspect. We don't know who this is.
Here we go again with her correcting Ashleigh Banfield. No person of interest, no suspect.
Think that they know a lot more right now than they are letting the public know.
Yeah.
You think that they know a lot more? Of course. Wow. What a brilliant question.
And they may actually have a person of interest, but they're not going to publicize that for two reasons. One, or suspect. One, to alert the suspect, and two, for all the legal ramifications that kick in, right? If it's someone really close, which I don't think it is, but if it's someone really close, and then you name someone as a suspect, there's a shutdown, there's Miranda, there's all these things that sort of kick in when someone is a suspect. And it also, you want to keep everything open, because I don't think they know for sure, but I think they are following very specific evidence in a specific direction from what we're hearing. And he's not saying everything that he knows. He's saying things that I think might help, keep it bubbling, help people think about, do I have any information that might be helpful, right? You always want to do that, like, because there are things that people may know that they don't even acknowledge or can realize are important to the investigation that may very well be, right? You're talking about Circle K. Well, what are we, we're pumping gas. We didn't know anything. Well, yeah, you did. So I think he's doing enough to feed the beast, to keep the story in everyone's mind and the pictures and the information, because it takes a while to break through to everybody. Because someone who's not like us,
I got
on every bit of information being released might know something, and then eventually it seeps through to them. Oh yeah, I saw that. So I'll keep my ears open all weekend, because I think something major will break at some point before that deadline. And but that deadline becomes, that's looming large, because I keep coming back to that human decision, and I think all of us personalize it. And obviously, not for everyone could pay millions of dollars, but whatever your situation is, would you pay whatever it is, a year's salary, whatever it means to you, if there was a chance of life versus proof of life?
It's one of those like awful questions, like in a would you rather game, and this is real life for real people, and it's horrific right now with a deadline on Monday, and we're all watching.
And that's why I think they're working a lot harder. I think that's why we had a second reach out from Cameron to the people the author of that original note. It's interesting, is the second note connected? Can they connect it? It's been described as being similar in some ways, but not described as a ransom note, right? So, and what was in that note that made them go back to the house, if that is even connected, right?
Right.
They get the note and then boom, get away from the house, everybody, because we've got to do stuff. They're climbing on the roof. What? Like all of these things, like none of it makes sense to us. But there's movement, there's activity, and there seems to be some level of developments, and all of that is good news. But the bad news is that
some level of developments where
it's been a bunch of days. And the thing that struck me from Savannah's description of the medicine was that I'm sure the medicine is helps and is sort of prophylactic in making sure everything's working. But she also said she's in constant pain,
suffering.
Yes,
suffering.
And I think the medicine helps that. So if she is alive each day, she's not just being held, she's not just scared, she is suffering. And there was nothing about that in the note. And I'm wondering if that's a tell that it's not legit. If she's, in constant pain and you didn't take the pain medication with you and you say she's fine, if you know that she's got these pain issues, you're going to say she's fine and we have pain medicine for her, something like that, if it's at that point. So that, to me, that was another thing that I just paused for a moment and said, maybe it's not legit if they're not even acknowledging the status of her physical, ongoing, constant pain.
Right. Well, the other thing I wonder, and I want your opinion on this, is how hard would it actually be to give proof of life? Because the family asked for two things in that.
Okay, I got to slow it down to regular speed here because this part I seen on Hella and I was like, what?
First video, they said, we want more contact. We're ready to talk and listen. And we want to know proof of life. And Savannah said, look, we live in an age where things can be manipulated, right? So give us proof of life. And proof of life, what could that be? Could that be a birthmark? Could that be something that, Nancy knows that?
What? You can show a birthmark or a tattoo or a mole or, someone could be passed and they could try to pull something like that.
Only her children know. And they could that be something that, Nancy knows that only her children know and they could relay this to them? Could it be that simple? So give us proof of life. And proof of life, what could that be? Could that be a birthmark? Could that be something that, Nancy knows that only her children know and they could relay this to them? Could it be that simple? And, the news director who received the second ransom note, she did state there was no proof of life in that. So they're willing to do that second communication, right? But you're not willing to give any type of proof of life. That's also, a concern.
Right. And
holy cow, how many times are they going to say proof of life on this video? And it's in the thumbnail. Hold on. I need to, because this is just too much. Show transcript. Gonna copy and paste this and run it through program to point out how many times she says proof of life in this. And mind you, that's the only really update besides them, the family putting out that statement that we watched in the beginning. Like, we still have not had proof of life. That's it. I mean, there's nothing new. Now they're saying they're willing to pay whatever for peace.
As you just laid out, there's a bunch of ways to do it without having to transmit a video or a photograph, which could have sort of data in it that might, not be good for the kidnapper. I'm sending this picture, but there's going to be metadata in there that's going to help them track the source of this video, the source of this picture. Right back in the old days, they would send a Polaroid with the newspaper, right? A Polaroid with a newspaper. But you're right, that sort of information, whether it's nicknames, name of a dog, or an address or
something that happened in 1986 that only you and mom know, right?
Right.
Yeah, I know. So many.
Okay, so that makes more sense, Lauren, but you lost me for a minute when you were talking about a birthmark. Okay, so still no proof of life is stated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times. That's not including them saying chance of life. And it's also in the thumbnail. No proof of life. So how many times they state how they state chance of life is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Well, that's crazy, Lindsay. I didn't know that either. Let me look for some updates because I think we've had enough of that. Some updates before we click off. I will check X. We've already played the new plea from the family. So that is in the beginning of the stream if you guys need that. Let me just pop on X real quick before we depart and see if there's anything new because it always breaks on X first. And then you check Hidden True Crime and Lauren will be breaking a story. So the sheriff has stated he has texted with Savannah and the family, and they are holding up as best as one would expect. Other than that, nothing new. Just looking. That's it. That's pretty much it, guys. That is the updates. But yeah, I mean, that's people are questioning on X if the Nancy Guthrie case is another distraction. I'm just reading what people are saying. I'm not saying I believe it. I'm just letting you guys know what's out there. Somebody posted on X saying Nancy Guthrie is beginning to get tiring. There must be something else going on. I don't know. Let's see what Brian Enton has put out. He put out a video. Hold on. And what I don't get, this is in Arizona. Doesn't Lauren live in Arizona? Like, why is she not on boots on the ground? Yeah, no, this is 40 minutes long.
Checking out my show. Really, really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe.
I don't
Big news in
foresee us
the
watching this, but
search for Nancy Guthrie. I'm
right
outside her house right now in Tucson, but there is now a new video that Savannah Guthrie has just released, sitting with her sister and brother again, where she says this time we will pay, and she is addressing the alleged abductors. Listen to this.
We've already heard it.
Very valuable to us, and we will pay.
Just awful, awful. I mean, I don't know how that doesn't just make anyone feel
back if you're,
because this just happened with the new video coming in. So, Maureen, what stands out to you here?
Oh, duh, Nevada.
well, it's a last ditch effort to, bring her mom back if her mom is in fact alive. I mean, they have to. They're just I don't want to say they're grasping for straws, but you can hear the desperation in their voice. You can see it in their faces. These people are crushed, and
All right. We know they're crushed. We really don't need like a play-by-play of the family's emotions at this time. We saw the video. Yeah, as Lauren would say, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. It is. I mean, I'd love to get an update. I wanted to get an update before we even went live, but that didn't seem to happen. Yeah, he has done great, but 40 minutes with no new updates is too much, Brian. It's too much. I'm sure he has made a killing this week, though. Absolutely. At least he's boots on the ground. You know, like here we have Ashleigh just making her rounds on all these networks with just, my source said the son-in-law may be prime suspect, even though her thumbnail says prime suspect. It's, I don't know. We'll see how the cards will fall, I guess. Was Ashleigh Banfield's source accurate? Time will tell. You know Lauren is praying that it comes out like not the son-in-law. Especially since she told her streams, like, how many times was it that there's no prime suspect? Thank you everyone for being here. Hopefully we get some updates. Tomorrow is the Super Bowl, so no streaming, and we'll pick up Monday night with a stream. So join me Monday night, and other than that, check out the shorts that I post and the videos that I post during the week, and then next weekend we will pick back up with the live streams. So yeah, will Ashleigh be correct? Would she correct the record? And that's the thing, is she would probably say, well, at that time they were starting with the family and working their way out. So what I reported was accurate. You know what I mean? Like it'll be something like that. And it's like, yes, but you realize that the public took it as your word is gold and that he was going to be the one arrested. Maybe he will be. Oh, thank you, Karen. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys very soon. So prayers to the Guthrie family. I don't know how this is going to end, but I hope it ends very soon for them with closure, whatever they've asked for in that video to give them peace. You know, I hope it happens. So